Opium and common sense collide. Starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Crypto fam, it's your boy CryptoKeeper, as always with BlockchainCrusader, but we have got a special guest on today. I'm sure you can see we have the one and only CryptoJebb. Jebb, thank you for coming on, brother. We're excited you're here.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it.
We are super excited. If you guys don't know who CryptoJebb is, well, you should. He will help you with all of your technical analysis needs. We'll actually get into that a little bit later, some of the things that he offers there. Crypto fam, just as a reminder, September. Yeah, that'd be interesting. December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, we're giving away $500. All you have to do is be subscribed. So if you're just new to the channel today, if you came over from Jebb's channel, get yourself some maybe possibility at $500. All you got to do is be subscribed. As always, X out of the live chat, smash the likes. Let's get into it. So, Jebb, over the next hour, we're going to dive into your personal life a little bit. Some hard questions, right? So we need to know things like, what's it like being the youngest technical analysis Jedi or Jebbi ever? We're going to need to get into that. But first and foremost, how are you feeling, bro? I know you're really sick.
I'm feeling great. I still got a little bit of a cough. I got sick there for like 2 weeks, and for I think it was not last week, but the week before that, on Tuesday and Wednesday, I slept 20 out of 24 hours. I was lights out. I couldn't talk. Wow. Sounded like Darth Vader a little bit. So, and then Tim Warren, my co-host for our show, who we have designated as my fill-in for if I ever get sick, left for Colorado the day I got sick, and he was also sick while in Colorado snowboarding. So it was the first time the stream had gone down for 4 or 5 days in a long time.
Yeah, you know what? It was funny because Miguel, we both follow you on Twitter, but Miguel follows Twitter a lot closer. And so I always watch your show in the morning. I've told you that. And I was like, man, that's weird. I don't remember them saying Friday that they weren't going to be on Monday or however the days worked or whatever. And Miguel's like, dude, he's really sick. And I was like, what did he like call you and let you know or something? He's like, no, you gotta watch Twitter.
Gotta be on Twitter, man. Gotta be on
Twitter.
Yeah. Got it. So let's start off with this.
Watch Twitter.
Tell me So Jebb, I want to know about you. Tell me about yourself. Like, the world knows you as crypto YouTuber, entrepreneur, right? But describe for me who you would say really Jebb is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, I'm a follower and believer of Jesus Christ. That's the first thing I am. And I made a decision a long time ago that was what would define me and nothing else would define me above that. So when people say, hey, I don't want to hear you talk about that, that's fine. I will be respectful of that. But that is who I am, to answer the question. On top of that, I also run a small business here. We do crypto YouTube. And, I grew up in a hard situation. A lot of people did. And I decided when I was really young that I wanted to be able to help my dad and help my family and, take care of those around me. And I decided that I wasn't going to take it anymore. And I didn't want to just, have to live with the hand that I was dealt. And I decided that I wanted to go out and try and do something so that I was able to take care of my friends and family. So I found cryptocurrency in 2017 and I saw, wow, there's a lot of opportunity here. I can go and do something to take care of myself and, more importantly, take care of my family and friends and community around me. And then, now that I've been able to do that, it's extended to how do I take care of the community that allowed me to do that in the first place. So I have the unique blessing of being able to serve people every single day, and I love it.
That's fantastic. A servant's heart. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ as well. So is Miguel. Amen. And that is actually the foundation upon which things are built as it goes for me and my family, for sure. So I really love hearing that. That was actually one of the things that I heard when I first started following you. And I was like, yep, I'm following this guy, right? I liked hearing that, because a lot of people, even if that's their belief, they don't ever really talk about it. They kind of hide behind it, and it's
very polarizing. But the thing is, people people respect someone who stands for what they believe in, even in the face of opposition, even if they don't agree with you. So I think a lot of people that are believers, they're scared to say it because they're worried about that opposition. But funnily enough, I actually haven't had a whole lot of that. I've had a lot of people respect me for that because I don't try and force it, but I am who I am, and that's who I am.
That's fantastic, man. So let me ask you this. You talked about, you alluded to having some struggles growing up. So how would you say that your struggles have prepared you for where you are today? Because man, you are young and successful, and I feel like a lot of people probably look up to you. How have your struggles played into that?
Well, I appreciate that. I think the way that they've played into that, because, I struggled with, monetary issues and family issues and, being the black sheep of the family. There was a lot of depression and suicide suicidality. I don't even know if that's a word I should say on YouTube. We don't have a problem with it on our channel. The YouTube hadn't attacked us for it. I apologize. There's a lot of darkness that I've seen in the world, and being a believer, that's something that I think I have an answer to now. But the fact that I've seen so much of that has given me the unique ability to relate to people that are in those dark situations, because I haven't been in the situation that 99% of people have been in.
Right.
I have my story. I don't have your story, Nick, or your story, Miguel's, and I don't have the story of the people that are watching this, but I do have my own story, and I have my own testimony, my own past and experience, and I know what it's like to be in pain. I know what it's like to say, hey, man, I want to make sure that I can have a roof over my head and take care of my family. I understand what it's like to have that pain and that uncertainty. And
Yeah.
it has given me the ability to relate in a way that I wouldn't have had if I had everything given to me. And I was blessed enough to have a stable childhood, which I was very blessed in many, many ways. I'm not trying to say, I'm not trying to complain, but my point is that it's given me perspective. And especially as a leader, I think it's incredibly important that a leader understands that the people that you serve are a lot more important than you. And if you ever forget that, then you've made a very bad mistake.
Man, that's fantastic. Just another way that we have some commonality, because I'm in recovery and I'm really open about it. I was a drug addict for a long, long time, and my life has changed so drastically. And I can do nothing but be grateful for it. And I try to pass that love and that forgiveness on to other people, because it's a huge part of who I am. I think everybody has their own, struggles that they go through. I would never, take one person's versus the next. Like, oh, I felt more than no.
Exactly.
The reality is everybody has their own testimony. Everybody has their own story. Man, that's
Absolutely.
fantastic. I promise you I'm going to let Miguel talk, but I do have one more question before Miguel gets to jump in here, right? So what would you consider to be your biggest accomplishment so far in life?
That's such a hard question, because it's one that I don't want to answer, because I don't want to come off as like prideful or something.
No, come on. We keep it
It's
real.
okay. You can flex. You can flex on it.
The biggest accomplishment, I think the biggest accomplishment that I have actually played itself out right before we went live here. We had an 1.5 hour long meeting with 7 of our employees, because we do a lunch every month where we develop culture with our team. And you're a business owner as well, Nick, so you know what this is like. The culture is the primary objective of any leadership or of any business owner and any CEO. Your responsibility is the culture and the community that your team is a part of. And if you let that slide, then you've lost the most important thing, because like I said earlier, the most important thing is leading people and making sure they're put first. So I think the biggest accomplishment that I would say that I have is I built a team that feels safe and open and honest, and they're vulnerable. And the number of things that employees of mine have told me that are deeply personal speaks to the fact that we've been able to, through the blessings of the Lord, been able to build an organization where people feel safe and comfortable, and they're able to grow and thrive and expand. And I think that I would say that's my biggest accomplishment. It's not about the money. It's not about the size of the team. It's not about, the reach or the influence we have. I'd say my biggest accomplishment is building a team where people feel safe and people feel taken care of, but also where people are pushed and where people are growing and where people are developing and trying to find a better version of themselves every single day, and hopefully living out their purpose and their calling for their life.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very important when it comes to a company and running a business. Is culture, right? Culture, everybody being able to participate. So with that being said, my question would be, now that I can finally speak, Nick.
I realized, hey, hold on real quick. I realized before the show, Miguel pointed out to me, he was like, well, after about 30 minutes of you and Jebb chatting, maybe I'll get a chance to. I realized that I had like my So Miguel, por favor, forgive me.
No, I'm just busting your balls, man. So Jebb, after accumulating such a big following on social media, right? YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and so on, what would you say would be the biggest struggle with having such a large social media presence?
Distraction. Because it is very easy to remember. My father always gave me great advice, and I use the same thing when I'm talking to. I tell people the same thing when I'm trying to, act in a leadership capacity. My father used to always tell me, Jebb, remember who you are. And I say the exact same thing to our company, because I have a very clear vision of who we are, and we're all on the same page. We're an organization that wants to help you achieve financial freedom, so that hopefully through you achieving that financial freedom, you can live out a purpose-driven life that God has called you to. That's what we are here for. That's what we desire to do. And we do that through cryptocurrency, but we also do it through things like leadership development and many other things. And one of the biggest challenges of a large following is a distraction, because there are countless companies, there are countless ministries, there are countless churches that got large and they got distracted because they forgot who they were. And that's why I always cherish that advice my father gave me, because if you ever forget who you are, and more importantly, if you ever forget why you do what you do, then you're not going to be doing what you were put here to do anymore. And I firmly believe that living a purpose-driven, God-called life is the one and only way to have other than, secondary to following Jesus, but as far as what we do here in this life, is the one and only way to have a fulfilled, joy-filled, happy and successful life, is by living out what you were called to do. And whenever you get very large on social media, it's easy to get pulled in many different directions by, hey, look, here's a big deal. Like, we've been approached by different coins. Like, just to give you an example, we've been approached by different coins, and I won't name any names. They have offered us over $100,000 to do a 10-minute video reviewing their coin. And we've had to turn that down because we hold very firm to the fact that we are a channel that does price analysis, and we have to hold our viewers' trust as paramount. And if we were ever to take payment to review a coin, then no one would ever be able to trust us anymore, even if it was in the contract, hey, we are only going to ever say something that we firmly believe. It would call it into question. So the biggest challenge that anyone that's growing on social media is going to face are the distractions that are going to try and pull you different ways. You know, success is like walking down a knife's edge. It's easy to fall either direction, but if you manage to stay on that line, then you will end up being very successful. And more importantly, you'll be able to sleep with yourself at night.
Yeah, that's amazing advice to anyone to do exactly that. So before we take a deep dive into the big, questions about crypto and what's going on, 'cause that's what I know what everybody's waiting for.
Yeah.
Right. When they start talking about crypto, what would be a funny fact or a fun fact or a funny story that would be surprising to your audience they might have never heard of?
I almost killed myself snowboarding about a year ago. So that was just, I don't know why. That was the first thing that came to mind. So Tim, who's my co-host, taught me how to snowboard. Tim and his wife, actually more his wife, taught me how to snowboard. I took myself and 5 of my friends. Tim didn't work for me at the time. Taylor did. Zach did. Our editor, our customer service person, and Tim, who's my co-host and chief product officer, we all went snowboarding along with a couple other friends, and they taught me how to snowboard. And on my very first day ever snowboarding, for anybody who has ever been snowboarding, the way the slopes are rated are green, blue, black. Green is like, okay, you're a beginner, you're probably going to be okay if you do that. Blue, it's a lot harder, and black, it's like, be a professional or, be in a grave kind of thing. So I decided that I wanted to take a blue on my first day, and I got really confident. And this is why humility is a core value for us guys, because I've learned the hard way. I crashed a motorcycle and it almost ended very badly. And I learned a lesson about humility that day. That's another story. But the snowboarding thing, I was going down the slope, first time ever on a blue slope, and I finally got going. I fell like 20 times, and I finally got going. I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm going to do a jump. And so I jumped, and I succeeded in the jump. I didn't succeed in the landing, though. And so you ever seen one of those TV shows where somebody's falling down a hill and they like turn into a snowball? Like, that was basically me. I was literally cartwheeling head over heel. And I remember just rolling about 200 yards down the slope. And I'm like, yeah, I'm dead. This is going to end badly. I was like, okay, it's over. And I landed, and funnily enough, I didn't break anything, but definitely a lesson in humility.
Wow, that's crazy.
I used to water ski a lot. My parents had a competition ski boat when we were growing up.
That's awesome.
And I'll never forget cutting on, like, basically I was out on a slalom ski, cutting out basically as far as I could, almost laying down on the water. And I got down so low that my trunks grabbed water, and it literally, now mind you, I'm with my family, it pulls my trunks all the way off, and I bit it, but like butt naked around the family. It's kind of awkward, you know what I mean?
Dang, that's hilarious.
So let's get into crypto a little bit, Jebb. So
sure.
Let me ask you, from the beginning, when you first got into crypto, I think a lot of people, one of the things that they think when they see somebody like yourself or somebody like Miguel and I who have been in this for years, I think they think because we've accumulated a nice amount of crypto, right, a nice portfolio, that we started with like this massive amount of capital, right? And that is not a fact. At least for me, it's not. There might be some people that did,
Same
right?
here.
But my question for you would be, when you first got into crypto, when was it? And then what kind of money did you put in when you first started?
So I got into crypto July 31st, 2017. That was the first day that I ever saw anything on crypto. And the reason I know the date is because I've told this story a million times, which I'm sure you've done the same thing. So July 31st, 2017, I saw a video from a disgraced crypto YouTuber named Crypto Nick. He got caught up in a Ponzi scheme called BitConnect, lost his channel, got sued, whole drama thing. But my first exposure to crypto, like many people, was a scam. So I saw a video on BitConnect his video was on Genesis mining. He was making 30 grand a month, right? And he's 6 months older than me. So this guy, even to this day, is like 22. He was making millions. And so I saw this video. It's titled "How I Make $30,000 a Month Mining Bitcoin." And I'm sitting here saying, like, I want to make $30,000 a month mining Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So what's Bitcoin? So I started researching Bitcoin, and 2 weeks later, I bought my first crypto. I bought $10.02 worth of Litecoin, or $10.26 worth of Litecoin. Litecoin was trading at $41.02 a coin. It was in early August of 2017. It started with $10. And for the first 2 years that I was in crypto, my portfolio was in the four figures. Like, I didn't reach a $10,000 portfolio for like 2 years because I started when I was 17. Like, I didn't, I'm only 21. It hadn't been that long. So the thing I would tell people that are new to crypto is, number one, don't expect massive gains in your first year. That can lead you in a very bad direction. It can lead you in a direction of trying to do 100x leverage. It can lead you in a direction of trying to find 80 million % APY staking projects that are probably scams. It can lead you in so many bad directions. The thing that made my YouTube channel successful and that made me successful in crypto was one word, and it's a word I told my friend who's trying to start a podcast. Last night, I told him the thing that made me successful. I even told him, literally, this is exactly what I told him last night when I was trying to help him with this. I said, you want to know the one thing that I chalk my success up to, other than the provision of God, is consistency. Because I remember when I started the YouTube channel, I sucked at it. You watch the first 1,000 videos on the channel, they're terrible. I would never go back and watch them, even if they were still relevant, because they're bad. They're awful. I like to think I'm decent at this nowadays, but the first 1,000 videos, you know how long it takes to make 1,000 videos? It took 3 years. I feel like I'm decent at it now, but I sucked. And I told myself, you know what? I don't remember the day I told myself this, but I do remember telling myself this. I am going to make a video every single day until I get myself out of the situation that I find myself in. And that's what I did. So I made a video every single day. I think I took a week off in that entire time for over 3 years. And I made a video 7 days a week. I'm not talking 5 days a week. I'm talking 7 days a week, every single day. And I didn't spend 8 hours on one day and then 0 hours the rest of the week. Like Manny, who's our chief operating officer, said this in our meeting earlier. He's like, I take that back. Simon Sinek said it in the video he was playing. You don't get fit by going to the gym for 9 hours. You get fit by going to the gym 5 days a week for 20 minutes a day, So it's about that consistency. It's about consistently growing and developing and getting 1% better every day. And that's where I would say that a lot of people in crypto mess up. They want one big trade. They want one big investment to make themselves rich. And it's not about that. The money is downstream from the leadership skills that you'll develop and the rest of the skills that you'll develop, because you gotta get the golden egg laying goose so that it can make the golden eggs for you.
Yeah, man, I want to highlight what you said to the audience, right? Your first buy ever was $10. $10, right? It's not I heard about this project and I'm going all in and this is it. And then they say, well, now it's dipping. What do I do now? Oh, it's going lower. Oh, time to panic sell, right? It's not about getting rich quick, right? I love the fact that you said that, chop off the first year into pretty much just a learning lesson, right? Just learning. You're not really going to be making money. You're not going to get rich in a year. If you come in with that mentality, you're probably not going to last, because we like to repeat that on here a lot, all the time. The first year is going to be nothing but headaches. It's going to be pain, right? It's that growing pain when you're learning something new. You don't just come into something and just become an expert because you watched a few YouTube videos about it.
Yeah. Crypto fam, just as a reminder, if you are in the chat, if you could X out and just smash up a like for us, we would appreciate it. And again, we're giving away $500 December 23rd, so make sure you guys are subscribed.
I just subscribed on 2 accounts so that I could get in to win that.
look at you, bro. I wonder how that would look. We told CVO the other day. We told our buddy Paul, CVO Crypto, the other day. I said, listen, Paul, like, if you win, I don't know how that's going to look. And the winner is CryptoJebb.
Oh, God.
It's a setup.
No. No, don't give it to me. I was just messing with you.
So let me ask you, your co-host, Tim, first of all, I shaved my beard recently. I was trying to compete with Tim's beard for a while, and I finally just gave up. So you can tell.
Sorry,
you can
Nick.
tell
I love you, man.
You can tell Tim he has a beautiful beard.
Well, it
right?
looks like Tim's watching. Actually, I see he just messaged something in chat.
All right, Tim.
That's Tim in chat.
All right. Oh, I just saw that. So Tim, I got to tell you, if you look back at some of my videos not too long ago, I had a beautiful beard. However, I got to admit, yours was probably better. So
you got a much better beard than I've ever pulled off, Nick. So you're doing something right.
Well, so let me ask you this. So actually, it's cool that Tim's in the chat to hear this too. So Tim was talking about this morning, and I've heard him talk about it a lot, the Wyckoff accumulation happening, right? And he's talking about that he thinks it might be happening again right now. So this is kind of a macro question, a few questions within one. First of all, like, where do you think this market's headed? And within that question, do you have an idea of when or where you think we're going to top? Are we, and then the last part of this would be, do you think that we're actually going to have a classic bear market, or is it actually going to be different this time?
I love that final question because I have a hot take on that one. So the thing that I think about Bitcoin is I originally believed that the all-time high would be probably late February, early March, maybe mid-March. I think that now that we've dropped lower than we thought, I shouldn't say we, than I thought. I didn't expect us to drop. I expected us to drop to 53. I didn't think that we would break below 53. So hands up, I was wrong there. Right. I think that since we've done that, the entire cycle has been lengthened. I think that it's going to take longer to hit all-time high because there's a lot of room left to go. I think that there is so much left in the tank here. I mean, Cathie Wood, the CEO of ARK Invest, they have $53 billion assets under management. She said that if institutions invest 5% of their capital in Bitcoin, that it would drive the price up $500,000, not to $500,000, up $500K, so to $550K. And I think that's a very realistic, and to be honest with you, I think it's an understatement because there are, just so you guys know, over $10 trillion sitting on the sideline. We've seen this market go from $250 billion to $2.5 trillion in the span of 2 years. It wasn't long ago Bitcoin was at $4,000 on a dip. So I don't think that we're anywhere near done with this market. I think we're going to see a lot higher than $69,000. I think we're going to see well into the six figures in the next year. And I do think that that is going to take longer now than it would have originally, just because we've had this larger dip, because we're seeing more a stronger shakeout than we had previously, which, by the way, is a very good thing. I don't want to see Bitcoin do this, because you know what happens when Bitcoin does this? It does that. And then a lot of people get very, very burned because they didn't set their stop losses, or, didn't, or invested more than they're willing to lose, whatever. So I think it's going to take longer. I think we're probably going to see an all-time high of like a bull market peak, probably more closer towards summer, maybe even fall of next year at this rate, just because I think we've delayed things several months. Yeah. But as far as the bear market is concerned, I also don't think we're ever going to see an 85% bear market like we've seen the last two times. We saw Bitcoin move to $1,300 at the end of 2013. Then we saw it drop in late 2014, early 2015. I wasn't in the market back then, so I'm having to remember. So I want to say $180. That was about an 85% correction. We saw Bitcoin go to 20K, drop to 3K, 85% correction. I don't think we're going to see that this time. I think we're going to see a shorter and smaller bear market, for the same reason that we don't see 85% corrections in the stock market. We are building such a large market that has its fingers in so many different areas that there is a lot of there's so much interconnectivity in the market that it's going to allow the market to hold itself up. There's no one point of failure. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a decentralized network. You can't attack one node and take down the network. You got to attack the whole thing to take it down, and that's very difficult. And in crypto, even just 2 years ago, a lot of people in crypto right now weren't here 2 years ago. I've been here for 4.5 years. I've seen this. 2-3 years ago, wasn't long ago. You take out Bitcoin by having a FUD story, the whole market crashes. That's clearly not the way it works anymore. Now, it might drop, but it's not going to dump, because there's so much going on in the NFT space, the decentralized application space. We've got $250 billion staked and locked up in DeFi projects now. So I think we're going to have I think we have much more of a safety net than we ever have. And I think we're going to see a later all-time high and a smaller bear market.
So let me just ask this real quick on kind of after, in conjunction with that. If we don't see that massive bear market as we have in the past, right? Are you expecting that because here's the reality. One of the things that for me, I'm looking to take profits off of this run, right? And this, I believe, is going to be the last time that I'm going to do that. Hearing you say that makes me a little nervous, though, because the whole point of me wanting to take these massive profits, which which I've accumulated, is because I want to buy back in at such a lower price point. So what you're saying is, hey, look, I don't think we're going to see nearly that. So then my question just quickly would be, where, like, just a ballpark, and obviously nobody can pin you down to this, but like, if we're not going to drop 85%, are we going to drop 50% from the all-time high? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'd say that I don't think we'll ever see a 70% drop on Bitcoin from its all-time high again. I think we might see 65, maybe 60, but I would be surprised if we ever saw 70% again. Yeah.
See that, Nick? And you're out there almost panic selling, bro.
Oh, get out!
I can't. You see, man. I told you. That's what the institutions want, right? They want to confuse you. They want to create fear. You take profits now, and then they skyrocket things, expecting that we're going to have a 90, 85% drop again, and then you never buy back in at cheaper prices.
I like what Jebb. I like what I've heard. Jebb, I've heard you talk about something where you have a straight up HODL portfolio where that is all it is, and it is not moving. And then you have a percentage that you trade with and do other things, swing trade, and then stuff like that. I think that's
and I think one of the things that you have to set up, and beside the point, but I think one of the things you have to set up in crypto is you have to set up two portfolios, and for a very particular reason. And this is not something I actually mention very often. This is the first time I've really articulated this thought. And you're a business owner, so you understand this. What I've managed to do in crypto is I've built a successful business in YouTube that pays me, and then I can take those proceeds and invest in crypto so that I'm not having to use my crypto to make money to invest in crypto.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't in that position, then I would set up a trading portfolio that pays me that I can put into a HODL portfolio, because everyone needs a trading philosophy. My philosophy is have a portfolio that I never touch. I didn't sell crypto out of the crypto space for the first time until like 2 months ago. I've been here for almost 5 years. So the thing that I've done is I've just bought and held. And if the market cracked, like for example, I bought Chainlink over $30 a month ago. It's at 18 now. I'm not panic selling. I'm gonna buy more. You know what I mean? So, but you gotta have a source of those funds.
Yeah, I mean, my plan is the same, right? My plan is, well, not the same as that, but my plan is, 2030, right? Just buy and accumulate as much as I can every time I can for 2030. And then maybe by 2030, we won't even have to be talking about selling anymore, right?
Exactly.
And it's just, the game has changed by that time.
But let's be fair, Miguel. It is debate crypto, so I'm going to call you out on it. You full well plan on taking profits this year on Bitcoin, on some Bitcoin numbers.
If Bitcoin would have gone for that 200K, right? I would have taken some profits, because we were expecting, right? We were still expecting blow off top in December, and then that 85%. But now things have changed, right? Things have been drastically different. So that plan is out of the window, right? Yeah. I'm not worried about selling. I can hold forever. So my question to you, Jebb, next would be, diamond hands, right? Diamond hands. My question to you is, how do you think this inflation narrative that we keep hearing about on the news all the time affecting the crypto markets, right? We've had Ben on here, Ben Armstrong, BitBoy Crypto, and he thinks we're headed towards deflation. There's going to be a big shift down the line, and things are going to not go into inflation how we're being told. So what do you think about that?
With all due respect to Ben, because I do consider him a friend, I think he's dead wrong. And I've told him I've said this on around the blockchain. I think he's completely wrong about the deflation narrative. I hear him. I've heard a lot of economists. I can speak. Economists talk about this deflation narrative. It's a complex thing. I'm not an economist. I'm a crypto YouTuber. I'm an analyst, but I'm not an economist. I can't profess to explain the whole narrative behind why we might be going into deflation, but there is an argument to be made there. What I can say is this: when you print over half of the US dollars that have ever been in existence in the last 18 months, inflation is coming, and it's very difficult to argue with that, especially when we have CPI numbers coming out saying that we are seeing this is something we reported this morning, 6.8% higher inflation on consumer price through the consumer price index this November than we saw last November. That's a year-over-year change. That's the highest we've seen in 40 years. And by the way, the CPI is one of the most ridiculous metrics it's one of the most fudged, ridiculous metrics that we have about inflation, and even it is saying 6.8%. As far as the deflation, as far as inflation is concerned, I think honestly, it depends on the way it happens. it can either bring a massive rally on Bitcoin or a massive crash, but I don't think it's going to lead to neutrality, and I don't think it's going to lead to stability. It's going to lead to volatility. Either one, people are going to get very scared of the traditional markets, and they're going to be so scared to invest in things that they don't put money in crypto, or they're going to be so scared of the US dollar that they're going to put money in crypto.
Right.
But either way, it's kind of difficult to tell what people are going to do when they're scared. But what I can say is I know dozens of CEOs that run companies between 10 and 100 employees, and a lot of them are constantly asking me, Jebb, I hear this inflation stuff going on, and I'm thinking about investing in crypto. I've helped a lot of them do it. So a lot of the people that have the wealth in America are looking into crypto right now, and that's why we've seen Bitcoin go from trading around $10,000 2 years ago to around $40,000 to $60,000 this year, is because people are scared of that inflation.
Yeah, my concern, and Miguel and I have talked about this a decent bit on here. My concern has been that I just don't see, and I know a lot of people will say, well, we've been at this point for a while, but I think now especially we're here. I don't see a scenario where, as it relates to the lengthened cycle, right? I don't see a scenario where we have another 5 months worth of, of bullish momentum left. And the reason I say that is not because I don't think we have the bullish momentum left. I think it's because I feel like it's like a game of Jenga, right? And I feel like we are to the point where the wrong piece is going to get pulled and things are going to topple over. And initially, I feel like that is going to take the crypto markets down with it. Now, let me just say, I will use that as an opportunity for the long term. But I think that ultimately is going to catapult us into a bear market. Do you see that? I mean, what's your concern or not concern with that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think this has been going on for 20 years, but the traditional financial markets are a house of cards. And every time somebody pulls a card out, the Fed comes in and says, oh, no, hang on, let's prop that up. And then they put a little support on it. But now we've got this Frankenstein house of cards that really should have fallen down a long time ago so that we could put it back together the right way. And we keep putting Band-Aids on bullet holes. And now we're in the situation that we're in. We're trying to fly a brick because we have a big enough engine instead of being aerodynamic. You know what I mean? So I learned that from a pilot friend of mine. He said that. I'm like, I'm stealing that. That's a great idea. We're trying to fly a brick because we have a big enough engine. That's what we're doing with traditional traditional financial markets. And they can keep that going on for a long time. They've been doing it for at least the last 40 years, since 1971 when we went off the gold standard. The question is, how long can we keep that house of cards supported with Band-Aids before it finally falls apart? I don't know if that's a year. I don't know if that's 20 years. But eventually, that house of cards is going to fall, and it's going to suck for 2 or 3 years. But then you know what's going to happen. We're going to put it back together, and human civilization will march on, and we'll be okay. When that happens, people are going to more than likely be way too scared to invest in Bitcoin or another asset, at least if that happens in the next couple of years. Maybe it's a different sentiment in 10 years. Right. But if that happens in the next couple of years, people are going to probably want to hold on to cash and gold and silver and whatnot. But then once they have more confidence, they'll come into crypto. That's what we saw happen last March. Crypto dropped 50% a day and then rallied 800% after people had a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Coming up into this next bear market, whenever that happens, one of the things that we're doing here on the channel, we have an academy where we have a bunch of like-minded people getting together and ultimately educating people so that they can make better decisions, right? And so as part of that, we want to trade during this bear market. We want to we want to actually have a trading portfolio, and that's something that Miguel and I have not had an actual trading portfolio. And so because you are the person that I look to for a lot of our technical analysis, Jebb, recently, and this is for the crypto fam, we have partnered up with CryptoJebb on his CT2A, which, side note, I love it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
But can you explain, first of all, what CT2A is? And second of all, why is your modus operandi, so to speak, trading in charts rather than just simply investing and hodling long term?
Well, actually, over the last 2 or 3 years, especially in the last year that I've moved more into a CEO role. We have 16 employees now. I've got the business to run. That takes, this, you're a business owner as well. It takes a lot of time. I've moved more away from trading every day to moving towards investment. So I'm primarily an investor at this point. I do still mess around with trading, but normally if I'm trading, it's more of a swing trade thing. As far as what CT2A is, it is the culmination of everything that I've learned in technical analysis, because I firmly believe that the best investment you will ever make is an investment in yourself. And what I mean by that is an investment in not only your skills, but also in your identity. I think it's very important that we invest in our identity, that we invest in our skill sets, that we invest in our education. And so I think one of the best things that I can do to help people become, going back to our mission, our vision, to help people to become financially free so that they can live out a purpose-driven life and a God-called life, the way that I can help them to do that is by helping to educate them and help give them a hard skill, which is technical analysis, and a soft skill, which is leadership and portfolio management and things like that. Because I do believe that education is the best way to go down that train of financial freedom towards a purpose-driven life. So CT2A is basically a outpouring of what I have learned over the last 4.5 years I've been working in this space. And the reason that I focus on technical analysis is because I subscribe to the Dow theory of financial markets that was developed a little over 100 years ago for the Dow Jones Industrial and Rail Averages. And one of the very first tenets of the Dow theory, which is something that nobody talks about anymore because, technical analysis moves so quickly, but it all started about 120 years ago. The averages discount everything. And basically what that tenet means is that if there's a news story, let's say there is a hurricane in Florida, or let's say there is an earthquake in Los Angeles, and these things affect traditional financial markets extremely quickly, that will be priced into the price, because the price is at its core a culmination of the information of the trader's mindset. So I look at fundamentals, and I look at news, and I look at on-chain metrics, but I believe that through the traders manipulating the markets through their trades, all of those things very quickly translate into the price, and then I can objectively look at that price and I can get an idea of what that information is telling me. So I found technical analysis is a great place to start, and it's a great place to have the hub that your spokes attached to. But of course, it's incredibly important to look at your fundamentals and at your on-chain metrics and everything like that as well.
Miguel, you're muted. Oh, I thought
my bad.
I literally thought you were trying to talk. Sorry about that.
No,
Yeah,
no, my
dude,
bad.
Jebb, that's freaking fantastic. I really, I'm super excited. We're a little ways into it right now, and I just love the fact that it's a place where I can go and I can play, pause, look at a chart, kind of see, okay, I could see that working on it. And it starts off as simple as showing how to use TradingView. And I thought that was really important. I didn't realize that it was going to simplify it down that much. And I think there's a lot of good information in there. So we're super excited that
we've got some more stuff coming. Awesome. We've got some more stuff coming in that direction in the new year also. So look forward to that.
If somebody does, hook up with CT2A, whether it's through us, through you, whatever the case may be, are the new videos coming through? Are those like you pay once and that's it? You're not paying for the new videos that come in?
So for the CT2A product itself, if you sign up for CT2A, I made a promise as soon as I started it that any content that is added to CT2A itself, you will get access to everything that you paid for the moment you signed up and everything that we add in the future. Now, if we make a new product or something and we start in, like, for example, if we were to go off and make a trading course, then that would be a different product. But everything that's added to CT2A, you will get lifetime access to.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, people need to get that education, right? People need to find ways to make different passive income and make money on the side, right? And find that financial freedom. And you could do that through trading. It is a long road of education. It's not going to happen in 2 days, in 2 weeks, right? But it is definitely valuable information that once you learn, nobody can take it from you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. A mentor of mine told me there's 2 things that somebody can't take from you: the food in your belly and the knowledge in your mind.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
It's true.
So let's hit one of the chat questions here.
That's awesome.
You're young and have put in time to adapt. What advice would you give Gen X generation getting in now during this volatility? We feel like we're late to the party and feel like we're losing already. And by the way, side note, she is part of our academy, so we very much appreciate her. So DCA fam, yeah.
That's awesome. And by the way, great setup that you guys have here. This is so cool. Like, showed up at the bottom and everything. You guys have like some of the best production in the entire crypto space. This stream looks phenomenal. So I think that's worth a like if you guys who are watching haven't done it already. As far as for Gen X though, the thing I would encourage you to do is the thing I would encourage you, I'm trying to think of one thing I want to say, and I've got 20. Let's see. What's the most important piece of advice I can give there? Non-financial advice. I think the first thing you have to realize is that perspective is everything. And it can be easy to look at Bitcoin and say, oh, it's up 100 million% in the last 12 years. I've missed the boat, right? And forget that Bitcoin's still up 800%, 400%, however much it is, up several 100% in the last 12 months. To gain 100% at 8% a year, which is what the stock market average is, except in the last year when it's doubled because we're in a crazy market. We're not in a bull market or a bear market. We're in a ridiculous market. To get those kind of gains in the traditional markets, in real estate, in anything, you'd have to wait 12 years. It takes 12 years to double your money at 8% a year, something like that, 10, 11, 12 years. In crypto, you can double your money in a week if you know what coin to pick. So make sure that you have perspective, and just because you can't make 100 million% anymore, and by the way, you can. There are ways that you can do that if you get lucky. I don't think there's any way to repeatably and scientifically make 100 million% in a year, but you can get lucky and do that. Just because you can't make 100 million%, don't get discouraged, because there's still ways that you can make 1,000% by doing technical analysis, by reading white papers, by looking at fundamental analysis and realizing, hey, this project provides real world value. It is leading in its class. For example, like a Chainlink. Chainlink is it's the number one Oracle platform for layer 2 solutions for bringing on outside data onto the blockchain. That is a great product. And because it provides value to someone, it has value. So you can look at these crypto coins, cryptocurrencies, the same way you look at stocks and say, does this provide real value to real people? And if it does, it's probably going to go up, and it's not a bad way to invest. So I'd say just keep your perspective and realize, hey, just because you can't have what you had if you were here 10 years ago, don't focus so much on what was. Focus on what is, and what is, the fact is, there's a lot of opportunity in crypto still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. A lot of people have that mentality that we're late to the party.
Exactly.
And it's kind of over, right? And it's kind of wrong to have that mentality, because the potential that Bitcoin has, right? Bitcoin has 90% of its supply mined. The next 10% will be getting mined over 119 years.
Yep.
So how can you say you're late right now? Bitcoin's only been around for 12, right? The stock market has been around for what, 100 something years?
Yep.
So it's definitely the beginning. Yeah, the percent gains might change, but you're also buying an asset that has a tremendous amount of future, along with a bunch of other assets under, right? Chainlink, Ethereum, and so many other, Polkadot, all these other projects. So it's definitely never too late to get into Bitcoin and Ethereum.
It's a little bit like saying, oh, I'm late to the party in 1995 and you're investing in Amazon. Like, oh, yeah, Amazon went up 1,000% last year. Well, I missed the boat. They're a $1 trillion company now. You know, speaking of Amazon, Jeff Bezos said the way that you make a decision easy is by going forward 20 years and looking back and then thinking about it from that perspective. What decision should I have made? If I'm thinking back 20 years, would I regret the decision I'm making? Look back 25 years in the internet. Would you have regretted investing in an Alphabet or a Google back then, or an Amazon, or even a Yahoo, or even an AOL? Like, these companies that are out of business still would have made you a lot of money. And that's where we are right now in crypto.
Yeah, definitely, right? In the same mentality falls when back in May, when Bitcoin was down at 28, people instantly were like, well, I'm not going to buy right now because we're going to go down to 20 or 15 or 10 because, this and that. And it's like, those are the same people that get left never buying. They always get left on the sidelines because then it skyrockets. Oh, I'll wait for it to come back. Well,
yeah, they sacrifice the good for the perfect.
Exactly, right? They're waiting for that perfect moment, and there is no perfect moment to
Never
get
happens.
in. Right? And a lot of people ask that in the, especially in the academy. It's like they ask, like, well, when's the best time to get in? Should I wait for this price point or that? And it's like that doesn't exist. You're always exactly right. You're always going to be buying some case of a top at your first price point, and eventually you're going to either dollar cost average down, or the market is just going to move so far ahead that you're going to be in a great position. But in the short term, it sounds terrible.
And that happened to me with Chainlink recently. I bought Chainlink at like $32-$33, and then somebody on Twitter a week later was like, "Ha, Jebb, you suck because it's down to 24 now." And now it's down to 18. That guy's probably laughing all the way to the bank. He thinks he's so smart. And I've used that as an example. I'm down 50% on a 5-figure investment, and I don't care. You know why? Because I have the perspective that, hey, I bought this and I planned on holding it for like 5 years. I'm not going to freak out because I didn't get the perfect trade. I'm going to buy more. So it's just you learn these philosophies as you go, and it's just important to retain that humility.
Yeah, averaging that price down is super important. Let me ask you kind of a one-off. You mentioned Amazon and talking about 1995, whatever. One of the things that I look at in the market right now is you've got to pay attention to what's happening in everywhere, right? You have to look at what's going on in the stock market, what's going on in the real estate market, what's going on in equity. You know what I mean? Like you have commodities, you've got to look at this, right? And so what would you say? There is a whole lot of CEOs that have stepped down, and there is a whole lot of selling going on. Even up to the point of Elon Musk selling 10% of his shit. Like that is not a normal thing. Some of the biggest, I heard Raoul Paul talking about this recently. That is not a normal thing to be happening. So what would you say, does that scare you? Does that concern you short term? Are we really being naive to the idea? Are we really being naive and thinking it's going to come back? It's going to come back. Are we setting ourselves up?
I think they're buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, first of all, I think they're buying Bitcoin with their personal wealth because it's not on the mandated reports for Fortune 500 companies and publicly traded companies. So that's what I think. I think a lot of and by the way, I have one of my employees who an intern of ours that just started 2 weeks ago. He almost worked at JP Morgan Chase and he knows a lot of people that work at JP Morgan. And in JP Morgan, they all know Jamie Dimon's full of it. He preaches about how much he hates Bitcoin. And everybody at JP Morgan's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he has Bitcoin. Because everybody that works at JP Morgan, that's not Jamie Dimon, is very honest. And they're like, yeah, I bought Bitcoin. And they all think that he bought Bitcoin too. I think what we need to remember is that there's a dichotomy to looking at people. The three of us on this stream, for everybody watching, don't put us on a pedestal. I'm just a guy. And for that matter, I'm a 21-year-old guy. So please don't put me on a pedestal. Same thing with Nick and same thing with Miguel. We're just guys.
Yeah.
But 100%. At the same time, we do have to realize that these ultra wealthy people know what they're doing. And they do what they do for a reason. It's very rare that you see a billionaire become a billionaire because they got lucky. People like to preach that because it didn't work out for them. But it's very rare to be a billionaire and get lucky unless you inherited it. Like, it's funny, how poor the poorest Walton son is? Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, he's doing pretty bad. He's worth, take a guess.
$100 million.
Only $50 billion. Yeah, poor guy, right? No, I think it's like $10 billion. I know. I feel so bad for him.
End of the stick there,
so bad for him. Only $10 billion. But seriously, something like 90% of billionaires are self-made. So I have a lot of respect for somebody if they've gone that far in life because I don't think they lucked into it for the most part. But we also have to be careful about not putting them on a pedestal because no matter how wealthy you are, no matter how much experience you have, they're fallible and they will make mistakes. Mm-hmm. So, but to the question, does that concern me? I think the only thing that I can read into that at this point, because I don't have enough data to really give I don't want to put on like 2 or 3 tinfoil hats. I only put on one. I think the thing that you want to read into that is they know that a major shift is coming and they're getting ready for it. Yeah. I can't tell you based on their movements what that shift is exactly and where we're going to go. I don't want to speculate too much in an area that I can't say with a lot of confidence. But I do think there's a major shift and shakeup coming to traditional financial markets, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, definitely agree. Definitely going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Things have to have that, every time there's a transition, there's a lot of pain through that transition. Right now, we're moving from an old style economy to a more digitized economy. A lot of people are going to lose jobs, right? Automation's coming in. A lot of people are going to lose jobs. There's a lot of that growth in pain through those transitions, and same thing's gonna happen with the financial markets. We're coming into crypto, right? DeFi, all these kind of NFTs and digital ownership. So that is going to cause pain in the traditional markets one way or another.
Absolutely is.
Yeah, that's a fact. So go ahead, Miguel.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to ask, are you just kind of, as we're getting close to wrapping up here, are you involved in NFTs at all, Jebb? That's like one thing I don't really know about you.
I bought my first NFT about a month ago, and I'll do a name drop. It's the Mojo Heads collection. I know the guy that founded it, Rick Moby. So I got 2 of them, and I find it really interesting. I haven't looked too much more into NFTs ever since, but the thing about NFTs that are super exciting to me is that the reason, if anybody ever wants to evangelize Bitcoin, here's how you do it. Bitcoin is the first digital, verifiably scarce asset in human history. What does that mean? It's digital, so you get all of the benefits of, and you'll see where I'm going with this. You get all the benefits of digitization. You don't have to be in the room with us to hear this conversation. That's the benefit of digitization.
Right.
It's the first digital, verifiably. It's verifiably. Why? Because it's on a blockchain. You can't hack it. It's the first example of a trustless, decentralized ledger in human history that's online. So you have a digitally verifiably scarce. Why does something have value? Because it's scarce. Why is this laptop worth $1,000 and this microphone worth 400? The reason it is because it's scarce. It takes resources. That didn't exist 10 years ago when you could copy and paste a JPEG 100 million times. It didn't matter. You can still do that, but not if it's on a blockchain. Yep. So Bitcoin's the first digital, verifiably scarce asset in human history. The rest of it's self-explanatory. Why are NFTs valuable? Because they're fractionalized ownership of that concept. Instead of having an entire network have that property, instead you can have a single slice of something have that property. That's what NFTs are. They give you digital, verifiably scarce assets in a way that you don't have to build an entire network to have one of them. You have to build the entire Bitcoin network to have Bitcoin be scarce. But for an NFT to be valuable, you just have to use the software that we built over the last 12 years on the back of that, and then all of a sudden an image, or not just art, but like a deed to a house or a loan or a mortgage or an insurance policy. All of that can have fractionalized, digitally verifiably scarce ownership. That's why NFTs are valuable, and that's why you're starting already to see them pop up in places other than art. Art is just the most obvious place to apply that. So I haven't personally done a lot in NFTs as far as my own trading, but I think NFTs are a $10 trillion industry, and people are sleeping on them. Wow. Even in the last year, I think a lot of people are sleeping on them.
That's crazy. But that being said, right, digital scarcity, and you talked about Bitcoin, right? So where do you see Bitcoin and Ethereum in 2030? We love asking everybody this because this is our retirement plan, right? 2030.
That's right, 2030. This is the time, 2030. What's up?
So I have a different answer for both of those coins. Bitcoin, I still think will be top dog in 2030. And I do think Ethereum will still be number 2 in 2030.
That's right, Nick. You heard that? That's right.
And I am biased because 80% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin and Ethereum combined, because I'm very heavily on both of those.
There we go.
But Bitcoin, you can't contend with the fact that Bitcoin was the OG cryptocurrency. Can't do it. It will forever have that moniker. You cannot change that without having a time machine, right? What you can change is the fact that Ethereum's value proposition doesn't come from it being the OG. Ethereum's value proposition comes from its ability to be infrastructure for things like NFTs, decentralized finance, and smart contracts. So if you have a competitor come along who could do it better, Ethereum has a much shakier foundation. Bitcoin does what it needs to do, and it does it very well. Bitcoin was never meant, in my opinion, to be the daily driver currency that the world would use. Now, we can jerry-rig it to do that with layer 2s like Lightning Network, but I don't think that was the point of it. I think the point of it was to be a digital gold and maybe the gold standard for a currency built on top of it or something like that. That's a different story. Ethereum, however, has a lot more competition. So the reason that I always encourage people to have over 50% of their portfolio, or at least have their biggest part of their portfolio, the plurality of their portfolio, in Bitcoin, is because I don't think it will ever be challenged for number 1. Ethereum, I don't think so either, but I'm not as confident on that.
So you don't see the flippening happening even for a short period of time?
I think I don't think it's going to happen, but there's maybe a 30% chance of me that says, yeah, that could happen in the next 3 years.
Even if that happened, that'd be an irrelevant short period of time.
But I think it's more likely that an Ethereum flippening happens than Ethereum flippening Bitcoin.
So, okay. I got You're saying like Solana stepping up to the plate.
I'm talking about one of these contenders. Yeah. Or, by the way, just there being 10 competitors and them all being worth collectively more than Ethereum is on its own.
Yeah.
So Nick, I think we solved a great question there in this debate crypto show, which is what's better, Bitcoin or Ethereum? You're all about Ethereum. I'm all about Bitcoin. That's it. I'm default winner. We had a third party verify. I am the default winner. That's it.
Listen, my girlfriend does not like when you talk bad about her, so we're going to rise to the occasion and change things. So
Jebb, Ethereum is the queen to Bitcoin's king. So
all right. Well, I mean, if you play chess, then the queen is all over the board and actually the valuable, if you ask me, the most valuable. But you
don't lose if the queen gets taken out.
That is a fact, and you do lose right now when Bitcoin loses. That's
it's true.
So exactly. let me ask you this, Jebb, before we sign off. what would you tell, besides consistency, because you talked about that before, if you were to give Miguel and I just a one-off piece of advice as we just started our YouTube, what's it been, Miguel? 11 weeks, 12 weeks ago, 10,
Something about
11,
that, yeah.
something like that.
Or something
And,
like that.
you know, we're just starting. We are being consistent, right? Is there anything that you could really give us a suggestion or a piece of advice on as far as helping this thing grow?
Well, I'm going to have to give you two pieces of advice, because the first piece of advice is keep doing what you're doing, because but that's not very helpful. And the reason, and by the way, the reason I said that is because I wasn't joking earlier. You guys have some of the best production, some of the best personalities that I've seen in crypto YouTube, and you keep it real and you're genuine, and I can tell you care about your people, and that'll take you a long way. That's 90% of the game right there.
Thank you.
The other 10%, other than consistency, is, I would say, networking. So what you're doing already, which is, you know, networking with people like myself and Ben and getting the word out there. It's very, very important that you get the word out there. And, you know, one of the things that I want to be doing next year is I'm trying to get my team to help set me up on going on like a media tour. I'm going to be going on Reuters. I'm going to be trying to get on Fox Business and Yahoo Finance and Cointelegraph and CoinDesk and all these different places to get the word out there. I think what a lot of business owners fail with is they start with marketing and then they try and figure out product. What I think you guys are doing is you figured out product. You've got a good YouTube channel that is entertaining and informational and educational. And now I would focus on brand awareness. Get the word out there. Continue working on the product, but get the word out there and share with the world what you're doing, and make sure millions of people hear about it. Because I think you're providing a lot of value here for people. So find any way to get your people's eyes on it, because I think people will watch once they do.
Man, I appreciate that. You are definitely one of my favorite content creators. I appreciate that, brother. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so
Crypto
much.
fam, it has been a wonderful stream. You guys know we love Jebb. We talk about him a lot when TA comes up. We would love to have, hey, Jebb, I do want to side note, when we go live in the metaverse, are you interested in maybe hopping on sometime and doing a metaverse live stream with us?
Sure. I didn't know that was a thing yet. I'd love
to. It's definitely going to be a thing. We're going to get you set up with an avatar that looks like you and everything. So we're going to
look like me. I'm going to go play some Wii tennis or something, you know.
I'm looking forward to that. So Crypto fam, just as a reminder, if you smash a like, that's super helpful. Also, we are giving away $500 December 23rd. Last time, I'm going to remind you, all you got to do is be subscribed. We appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate you, Jebb. You are fantastic. Keep on doing what you are doing. Guys, all of Jebb's information, I'm sure you guys are probably all following him, but if you're not, all of his information is going to be in the description below. Until next time, Crypto fam, we love you, and hodl.